What just doesn't make sense about the Harry Potter universe? I know I'm late to the thread, but I've never understood something about the Triwizard Tournament. For the spectators, 2 of the 3 tasks must be super boring. Here, watch these people jump in a lake. Now wait. Now, watch these people disappear into a hedge maze. Now wait. Sounds like fun to me. Hagrid says there wasn't a bad wizard that didn't come out of Slytherin, so didn't anyone think that maybe the problem was that they were putting all the problem children with other problem children and locking them in a dungeon during their formative years? Of fluffing course they turned out evil. If your only option for friends are Crabbe and Goyle and Malfoy, and everyone looks at you like you're a criminal, and you live in a dungeon, maybe you'll become a criminal. That none of the kids in Harry's first year knew about the Sorting Hat. Literally not one. Not even Malfoy. Not even Ron, with his 5 brothers going before him as well as his parents. Yet in the end of the last book, Harry is openly discussing the event with his son. At Slughorn's Slug Club meetings, Hermione brings up her father being a dentist, which gets confused stares from the students in Slughorn. Yet, in the Chamber of Secrets, a clock in the Weasley house can be seen, each hand with a family member's face, and many indications of where they might be at any given moment. One of those places is dentist. Also, Accio being a 4th-year spell. You can tell that this is only because JKR didn't think of it till Goff, because this incredibly simple yet useful spell appears exactly 0 times in previous books. Locking the 3rd floor corridor when anyone that knows Alohomora can get in. That Hogwarts was supposedly one of the safest places in the world. Dumbledore was a great man. I got massive respect for the dude. But when it comes to his role as a headmaster, I would say he is a pretty incompetent one. He had no control over administration and had no idea what's going on around here. Love potions being legal. Gotta be the biggest bunch of date rapists ever. Where do the pure blood kids go before Hogwarts secondary school? Do they have a wizarding primary school? Are they homeschooled? They don't go to Muggle schools because they know jack garbage about the Muggle world. I need ANSWERS. I don't understand why Dumbledore tolerated the way the Dursleys treated Harry so poorly. Even if he didn't want Harry to know that he was a Wizard World rock star, he might have had Hagrid drop by one day when Harry wasn't around to have a word with Vernon. How in the hell did Hagrid's dad, a normal human man, have happy fun time with a 25-foot female giant? The way wizards just didn't wear robes in the movies. Edit, I get why after reading some of the comments, but I read the books first and was so disappointed as a child. It's the same reason Peter Jackson cut Tom Bombadil from the LOTR movies. Some things work well in books but don't adapt to film. They are able to literally grow bones back from nothing but can't fix Harry's eyesight so he doesn't need glasses. They don't listen to any Muggle music. Some of them grew up with Muggles, so they should be into it. Same goes for TV shows. Kids from across the UK have to get to London to get on the Hogwarts Express, which takes them up to Scotland. Surely a kid from Scotland or even Manchester doesn't have to spend hours getting down to London to then go back up to Scotland. There are Muggle technologies that are actually superior to what the wizards have. Like phones or faxes, given the books were written in the 90s. Today, it would be video chat, etc. They need to send an owl cross-country while Muggles could just use the phone to get information across faster. Wizards don't understand things like phones, Muggle clothes, or Muggle money. They live in a place where 99% of the population is Muggles. You would think they would pick up some basic understanding. Quidditch. Scoring a goal is 10 points. Catching the snitch is 150. There would have to be a massive imbalance in chaser skill level between 2 teams for the snitch to not decide a game. Their entire justice system. What the fluff happened to Dumbledore between 1929 and 1945 to turn him from Jude Law into Michael Gambon? Why was Dumbledore chess mastering the whole thing? Did Dumbledore specifically set up the whole series of events in a giant decade-long trap? Why did he train Harry as a magical child soldier? Why did he do everything at arm's length? Dumbledore had the magical equivalent of a nuke with the Elder Wand and invisibility cloak. He very well could have beaten every Death Eater individually, picking away at their numbers. The Death Eaters still have families and day jobs and go to the bathroom. They aren't in a huge magical army so they could face off against a superior opponent. There wasn't a reason to go all cloak and dagger. Dumbledore is hideously powerful, had access to immortality and had 2/3 of the most powerful magical items, and all of the useful ones, from Death himself. So why go through so much trouble? Why do they use quills and ink when most of the muggles or half-muggles, hell even squibs, would know what a pen or pencil is? If you can use porkies to teleport to anywhere in an instant, what's the point of any other form of transport? Edit. A lot of people have been pointing other better forms of teleporting. My point still stands. If you can teleport, why do the children need to get a train to school, or hijack their dad's flying car? Time turners. Everyone acknowledges the massive potential ramifications of using a time turner improperly, to the extent that they're not allowed to be used by anyone. But an exception is made for teenagers, arguably the most irrational users conceivable, with raging hormones and not yet fully developed brains. Probably not a good policy. That the most efficient means of communication are sending a letter by owl or flu powder. I like to imagine the wizard version of a cell phone as carrying around a large, portable fireplace on a shoulder strap like the earliest actual cell phones. Voldemort is a goddamn idiot. If he would drop Theatrix and throw a baby against a wall, there wouldn't be any issues for him. Why couldn't Harry just not compete in the Triwizard Tournament? It's clearly against the rules, it's clearly not supposed to happen, it's probably a trap since Harry has had 3 years of magical assassination attempts against him. Why not just let him forfeit every round and everyone can move on? Edit. People are saying it was a contract, he had no choice but to do it, so here's a new thing that doesn't make sense. Why didn't the government just make up some magical contract that says Voldemort wasn't allowed to be evil? It's not like he has to sign it, Harry didn't submit his own name into the goblet or anything. Wizard crime is solved. How does Binns teaching a class even work when it comes to homework? They're consistently having to write essays for him, but ghosts are specifically stated to not be able to interact with physical objects very much, if at all. It's poltergeists that can move garbage. So how does Binns collect, much less grade, homework? And given his memory issues when it comes to names, how would he ever manage to assign the correct marks to each student? Wizard history could be awesome if taught by someone even vaguely interesting. J.K. Rowling admits she's bad at math, but like, how many people go to Hogwarts? If there are really only 10 students per house per year, that's only 280 people. But she describes hundreds, sometimes thousands of kids. The only compelling argument I can think of is that there was a huge demographic shift after Voldemort was defeated, and a lot more people had babies, so the years right after Harry have a lot more students. I honestly think she just hadn't figured out how many students it was. Also, it's wild in the 5th book when Harry clearly has PTSD, but every adult, except maybe Sirius and Molly, is like, let's let his 2 teenage friends take care of him. Now that I'm an adult, Hagrid is my favorite and Dumbledore does not come off looking good. Lavender Brown and her crazy race change. Why wouldn't they use the Veritaserum on Sirius when he swore that he was innocent? Edit. I really didn't expect this post to teach me this much about Harry Potter, ha ha ha. Plus I realized that the whole case just shows how unreliable the Ministry in there was. Unbeatable truth serum. Exists magical justice system, we throw innocent dudes in prison without a trial and let obvious terrorists go free. There is no solution to this. That fluffing time travel locket. It breaks the entire plot. They teach magic at Hogwarts but not maths, English, languages, or pay. About 5% of the total wizarding population of Britain are professional Quidditch players, and 1 in 6 wizards between 18 and 39 currently play professional Quidditch. In comparison, 0.04% of the current population of the US are professional athletes in any sport, at any level. Here's the math. If there are 500 students at Hogwarts at a given time, which is a generous estimate based on how many we actually see, then assuming a similar life expectancy, some live much longer, many die younger by misadventure, then that makes the number of Hogwarts-trained and future Hogwarts-trained wizards active in the country about 6,071. 4 students per year, life expectancy of 81 gets you 5,786. There are 12 professional top-level Quidditch teams in the UK plus 1 in Ireland. Each requires 7 players to field a team. Assuming that you need 4 to 6 substitutes in a full roster, 1 or 2 for each position, then there are 132 to 156 people on professional teams at any time. Add in reserve teams, themselves requiring 7 players to actually play, and that number doubles, let's call it around 300 total, at any given time. 300 out of 6,000 is 5% of the total population. But wait, that includes infants and the elderly. Let's assume the prime Quidditch playing ages are 18 to 39, if that's a comparable percentage to the UK, then that's 29.5% of the population. That means 1770 eligible people at a given time. Which means that the 300 players represent 17% of that population, or about 1 in 6. 1 in 6 wizards between 18 and 39 play professional Quidditch.